Poem of mine that's relatively new. It's the season of goodwill and, like, you know, all of that stuff. I'm into the goodwill to all men bit, but not all the, you know, there's a Wendy Cope poem about how it's an awful season if you're single, so here's a kind of an out of love poem for you all. It's very quick, so we'll do this one. And then we'll have our first guest on, Michelle Green. There was a love I could not give, a wound I could not sell, the thing unwilling to go out with the tide, would not wash away with brine, part of me elsewhere, something of a shipwreck about us, as I clung to you, slim as driftwood, and I your ballast. There was a solace there, and a lack. Also, on your tables, there are little flyers here, and that's for Magical Animals. That is Jackie's event with the blue hair. So if you want to ask her about it, you know, go and badger her in an interval. But I'd like you all to, we've got Michelle Green reading tonight, and we're very, very happy to have Michelle Green. I worked with her on a wonderful project called Riff Cuts. You can still find the ebook on the Common Word website, and she's just wonderful. So welcome her to the stage, please.
Thank you. Okay, I am going to have to project, aren't I? Because they've found their voices. So actually, before I start, Zach, you mentioned this. You're having an event on Thursday at the Castle, 9 o'clock onwards, from 7 until 9. I'm reading with Zoe Lambert. Actually, we're reading. Zoe's got a new book out called The War Tour, and the two of us are reading anti-war literature, basically. So you could come to that, and then you can stay for Zach's thing. Yeah, and Zoe's apparently making flapjacks, so there will be sustenance to keep you going. Okay. The wind howls like the audience in Studio B, baying for blood in the misdirection of an invented history. Now on the left we've got Suspicion all done up in her Saturday best of takeaway wrappers and see-through bins, autumn leaf fall piled up to her chest. And there he is, old evidence, swaggering switchbacks of roadwork dirt, orange cones and the malted aroma of a long-inhabited courtroom shirt. Now this will be his 8th appearance and her 6th, but who's keeping score? Apart from the temporary traffic lights, of course, but they've seen it all before. Red, 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 amber, green, red, 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 and more and more and more and more. Bewildered was in the green room, but she's just decided to leave. Now she's careening through the sound block, a streak of paint where her face should be. She's got bike lane rage between her teeth and the double yellow line, and soon there's a deal done down the hall behind a door with its own lit sign. The exit runs forever as she takes the stairs in twos. She's moving fast and with momentum as she hits the door on cue. Outside, the alley rises, and Bewildered takes it on with ice block breath and painted fingernails. A drowning sailor song. The last of the evening papers wraps itself around her thigh and whispers libel-scented nothings as she kisses the ground goodbye. With arms outstretched, Bewildered bares her teeth at the coming rain. The wind picks up, the day blows out, and the howling begins again. Thank you. So, hang on, let me sort this out. So I just need to say well done on coming out on a night like this. It's quite grim, and we've already had hail. Now, I know quite a few people who don't deal very well with summer. I know you're supposed to love summer, everyone's supposed to be all like, summer's the best time, oh I'm so sad it's winter. But I do know a few people who really can't deal with summer. And so this is like an educational thing for those of you who are not of that ilk. Summer nights make elaborate promises they can't keep. No respect for personal space. They get right up close, fingering your breast with hot hands, pressing down. Summer nights don't want to dance or flirt or just see how it goes. They want to take immediate possession of your soul and store it in safe bags strapped to their inner thigh. They want to keep you awake and talking until you give in, delirious at noon the next day. Summer nights are insatiable. They are intoxicating, over-rich when you've already had too much. Somehow, though, summer nights will still manage to starve you with empty calories. They don't care that you're tired. They want your complete attention now. Full of bad ideas and ways to fuck up spectacularly. Summer nights want the no-control adrenaline rush of heavy inertia. They want car crash physics. Summer nights are needy, unable to occupy their own time. They look to you, always wanting more. Summer nights are restless. They are moody, door-slamming drama queens who won't let anything go, ever, or take no for an answer. Summer nights want to draw it all out. Fighting, fucking, blood, and tears. They yearn for a year-long breakup, followed by nostalgic attempts to make another go of it. They want to hit rock bottom and keep digging. They want full disclosure, mind games, and an endless loop of emotional processing that gorges on its own tail. Summer nights are the stale whiskey breath that won't shift, filling the room with fermented regret that's still intact come morning. Summer nights leave, finally, at summer's end, only to look you up on Facebook 6 months later and see if you want to go for a beer and, talk about old times. Summer nights just will not take a hint. Right, so I'm going to try not to do like a long rambly thing, because this is the kind of topic where once I get going I just start ranting and I can't stop myself. So all I will say is, Steph, I think it's fucking awesome that you're taking on banks. And these next two are for you. Yeah. Stuff. Give me glossy. Give me full color, partial nudity. Give me imported. Give me exported. Give me well reported, big name, big brand, big man, expensive, extensive line, fall collection, limited edition, extended warranty, guaranteed quality, double stitched. Get me hitched. Get me hooked and hooking myself to stuff, more stuff, more stuff. I need more stuff. Financial security can be $20 in the bank. It can be taking a cab home rather than walking for 1 hour through the city at night. It's being put on long-term medication and not worrying about the expense. Seeing more than dollars and cents. A new paint job for the garden fence. Being able to ask, not beg, for a bank account. Financial security is having the option of post-secondary education. An economic revelation. Choosing your work location. Eating bulk pasta because you want to. Financial security is sending your child to a better school with permanent teachers and grass around the buildings, cash back with all your new things, paying for cable TV and then forgetting to watch it. Financial security makes school league tables and performance-based funding seem sensible. It makes paying for childcare worthwhile. It makes you think that students are the only ones who stock shelves at midnight in a supermarket near you. Financial security is thinking of retirement and smiling. So, I should have done a bummer warning. We're into bummer territory now. It's just going to get worse. It is. It really is. My dad retired a couple years ago. He's been working since he was 15, doing all kinds of shitty jobs, because, the kind of education that he's had, he sells his body for labor, for money and stuff. One of those jobs was at a place called Valley Metal, and this is in Canada, the land of milk and honey. No. This is, in Canada, Valley Metal, where they did like steel fabrication. And his job was to walk alongside these vats with all the chemicals to make sure everything was sitting as it should sit. And there's no, guardrail or whatever. And he asked them one day, what happens if I fall in there? There you are. Vat jumping, skin lumping, turning red eyes into hot dinners and steel rods into paychecks. Doing your best chemical stoop step in jeans and a concept of risk versus circumstance. Keep up your dance, Daddy. Keep up your dance. Arms stay wide for balance, so if you trip, slip, you'll spread your wings through that death dip and fly up out of your predicament. Just close your eyes and think of the flowers Mom will be sent. Tie up your old boots tight and sleep well tonight so you can keep up your dance, Daddy. You keep up your dance. So, what happens if I fall in there? It's a fair question. Well, Fred, I'd take this pipe and hit you hard over the head. At least that was better than the alternative, because at least that way we know for sure that you were... Well, look, take comfort and know that all possibilities have been thought about and fucked about and then chucked out. Through the acid fog, you've sussed it all out. Who reaps the rewards of your tiptoes? Who drives home with clear lungs, good credit, and a pink conscience scrubbed with cyanide clouds? Who hands you a week's notice when you're too sick to work, and when you don't crawl back begging, thinks it's quaint that you're proud? Who asks you to swallow your tongue and not let your doubts get too loud? Who pushes every cost-saving, close-shaving minute way past the limit, regardless of what the law allows? Who hands you a hard hat in the name of health and safety, and then, without a trace of irony, tells you to be careful there, mate? Who has no idea that your wife sits rigid and tight every fucking night, breathing out only when you walk through the door, coughing, weeping, and late? Who's willing to take you from your family for a little more money, just a little more honey, and no prize for your grace, for the sweat on your face, for your strength in the place where you dance? I still remember when you used to dance. And a few years ago, I went to visit my parents. They live in England now. And my dad stood in the kitchen and said to me, "Me and your mum have gone right off capitalism." Me too, Dad. Me too. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to read you one more thing. This is a short story. It's from a collection that I'm working on at the moment that I'll be reading another story from on Thursday. All of these stories are based in Darfur. I worked there for 6 months. They're all kind of rooted in that place. And this is the shortest, and it's the most poetic, so it seemed like the most appropriate for this night. It's called Debrief. And I know some of you will have heard this before, and apologies, I'm repeating myself, but it feels like the most suitable one tonight. Don't go into supermarkets. No malls, no chain stores, nowhere where there might be automated tellers. Avoid shops, anything with plate glass walls and reflective surfaces. When you do have to buy food, choose one method of deciding between similar products and stick to it. Either cheapest, closest to hand, least aggressively packaged, whatever. This way there's no dilemma between Cumberland, Lincolnshire, soy protein, beanie, lab grown. There's only sausage closest to hand, cheapest sausage, whatever, just stick to it. Second, do not allow strangers into your flat. No. They will knock at your door in twos, asking if you want, if you know about, if this is a convenient time, if you are interested. You are not, even though you are interested, even though you want these strangers, these blank sheet people, want them sitting on your couch, nervously checking their watches as you talk and you talk and you talk, even though these are the first people you've seen all week who don't make you quake with fear by using your name, or worse, a pet name, a personal name that they and only they will know because they are part of your history. Even though these people are not part of your history and they're more beautiful for it, do not allow them into your flat. However it might comfort you to spend time with these strangers, do not. Instead, save up your energy and go somewhere remote. Go where the lines on the map get fewer, where the accent changes, where the trees lean away from the sea and the birds huddle on the shoreline facing the wind. Now drink a little. Drink a little more. When the guy at the bar asks about what you've done, about where you've been, forget silence and tact and blurt out something about kidnappings on the border of DRC, something about child soldiers. His face will be hungry, will be wanting more, asking what, how, thinking he really wants to know. Forget your role as buffer and say it. Say that the kids are brutalized into killing. Say that they're... Stop. Stop talking when his face changes. Tells you to shut up. Tells you that you should have known better. You should have kept this in. You're crap at this. No sense of appropriate boundaries. No ability to read the subtext. What was Darfur like, your neighbor will ask. And this time, remember, read the subtext. Say, hot. And then she can laugh, and you can be spared the look of revulsion at how messy your insides are. At the ugly stains on your memory. Those are your stains. Find soldiers if you can. The man with the bullet wound in his leg, hollow faced at the local swimming pool following the physio regime. Find him and sit beside him on the bench by the pool. Don't say much, but listen. When he says he'd have shot you if his CO told him to, that's how it works. Following orders, hold his eye contact. When he mimes the handgun and looks terrified, stay. Just say something about lentils, about compounds and 5 months in the desert without leave. Say something about all the ex-squaddies turned aid workers and the soldiers in civvy clothes, boots in 40-degree heat and 3 weeks with the family twice a year. It's enough. Those people who want you to cry it all out, to spread it all over their living room floors, avoid them. Avoid the confession junkies. Avoid the inquiring eyes, the unsolicited hugs. Anyone who claims to know a good counselor. Read news on the internet. Collect articles and maps. Translate into Arabic. Save in a file. Keep in a drawer. This is not going away. When you hear, "That's so brave, I couldn't do that," or "I'd love to do aid work," make a sound that's not a real word. Like, Don't get drawn in. Don't get drawn. Think about running away again? Don't. Stay inside. Triple lock the door. Watch the horizon from the small window. Stay inside. Watch the door. Watch the horizon. Stay inside. Stay.
And then we will have a short break. But first up, we're going to have Simon Rennie, if he is ready. He is the founder of Inverse. He's got poetry books available for sale, I assume. Yes. He's the event Inverse that's at the end of the month is now here. Simon started it, and without that, I wouldn't have met Becca, who I run this night with, and millions of other poetry people. It's such a good event, so please come to that, and thank Simon for doing something like that. Anyway, welcome into the stage, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I found I'm doing a PhD on Victorian poetry, and I found this poem by a poet called Dolly Radford, who's so famous. It says 1858 to question mark. So she's not very famous, but she's managed to get in this anthology. It's a good poem. It's called Soliloquy of a Maiden Aunt. The ladies bow and partners set, and turn around and pirouette, and trip the lancers. But no one seeks my ample chair, or asks me with persuasive air to join the dancers. They greet me as I sit alone, upon my solitary throne, and pass politely. Yet mine could keep the measured beat, as surely as the youngest feet, and tread as lightly. No other maiden had my skill, in our old homestead on the hill, that merry Maytime, when Alan closed the flagging ball and danced with me before them all until the daytime. Again I laugh and step alone, and curtsy low as on my own his strong hand closes. But Alan now seeks staid delight. His son there brought my niece tonight those early roses. Time orders well. We have our spring, our songs, and Mayflower gathering, our love and laughter. And children chatter all the while, and leap the brook, and climb the stile, and follow after. And yet, the step of Alan's son is not as light as the one that went before it. And that old lace, I think, falls down less softly on Priscilla's gown than when I wore it. And this one is not by Dolly Radford. It's called Listening at the Statue to the Fallen, and it's about a memorial statue for the First World War in a park near where I grew up. Do you remember how the bronze bouquet would sway in the wind on Angel Hill? Those blue-green leaves against the grey skies are held aloft to this day still. Though never still, the city's thrum plays a chord on them for its own ear, enticing those alive to come embrace the dead remembered here. And here our grass-stained jeans would kneel, our bark-rough hands would press the stone. Braving the wind, we would hear the words sung aloud for all who feel or ever felt. You are not alone, we thought or wished we heard. Thank you. When I did a workshop with Jerry many years ago, he always said you should try and inhabit a poem. I think I probably only inhabit one poem properly. I only ever perform one poem properly. That's this one. It's called Forestry Commission. It's in the voice of a tree. A tree in a forest. We heliotropic hydrophiles, like rows of radar dishes, scan the skies. Each of us wishes we were 93 million miles tall and wide and deep. Each leaf face gleaning the orb above. Each root a finger in Earth's wet glove. And every space is ours to keep, for now. Such fertility, this bounty of light, this photon glut, this nectar from heaven seems endless, but shine on me! Rain on me! That was the most dramatic poem I've ever written, or ever do. This is possibly the angriest. But I don't know. Anyway, it's called A Museum Piece. These prizes, prized from the fingers of the dead, are trophies kept by a war crime culture, with scrapbook cuttings of past offences read by a million crocodilian schoolchildren vultures who pick the last flesh from the bones as they pass. Fetishised, encased, pickled and pinned. Pilfered from Malaysia, Memphis and Madras, violated villages are violently twinned with unjustified random juxtaposition. Each object denotes a date rape of tradition, an imperious denial of responsibility. Someone else took it and gave it to me. We live in Yorkshire now, Hebden Bridge, right opposite Heptonstall, where Sylvia Plath is buried. And a couple of years ago I relented and went on the Ted Hughes walk. And the Ted Hughes walk took us to Heptonstall, to the graveyard. And as we went in the graveyard, there were about 12 of us, literary tourists. And it was quite jolly and everything. And we went in there, and there was a woman on the other side who was clearly mourning for somebody. She was in the graveyard for the reason you should be in the graveyard. And then when we went up to to Sylvia Plath's grave, which has lots of tributes and things around it, I noticed the gravestone next to it. The chap had died the same year as her, and his wife had died almost the same year as Ted Hughes, so she must have visited this grave for 30 years before she died. This poem is addressed to him. It's called Next to Sylvia. Troubled and troubling, wise beyond her years, beyond her time, she would show sympathy with that razor smile. She lies beside you, siren seductress of a million tears, writer of lifelong auto-elegy, a broken glass, for the world to see through to its twisted core. And proximity, even as you both gradually degrade, casts your tragedy in unfavoured shade, with just a hint of coal-black mockery. When Ted led his young wife into the vault, were you one who glowered over your glass, not knowing only he would see the spring, that whether your life was at peace or fault, you'd share death with that American lass? Now they step over your grave as they sing dirges, leave trinkets and clear away grass. Your wife survived you 30 years, like Ted. How did she see those who worshipped the dead as she moved in her grief to let them pass? This next one is about my grandson who, well, he was less than 2 when I wrote this, but he's 3.5 now. It's called Gift. His second autumn, he runs to greet me with pick-me-up arms, reaching right into my torn-apart heart, put back together by fumbling fingers, just learning the way. He stops and stoops down, I think distracted, and for a moment I am sharply hurt, a jealous lover. He's noticed the leaves, their startling colours, their slimy beauty, and grasping at one, he looks up and smiles. The leaf is for me. This one is about starting a new relationship when you're older than 30. It's gone forward. Let me help you with that, and you help me. We should share the burden of the vastness of our pasts, balanced as we are at the present's fulcrum. Yet it is not the heft weighing us down, but persistent remains choking up drains. We should wear marigolds, work smiling and solemn. I'm going to finish with 2 poems now. First one's quite depressing, the second one isn't. First one's called Things. There are the things that have always been there, accumulating a larger darkness. The calm brutality of children. The childish nature of the adult's sin. Those we leave behind and forget with ease. And then there are the things lying in wait, like thugs in an alley, up to no good, ready to fuck up the trusting future for a short while, or even forever. How dare the sun shine? How dare the birds sing? As I may have mentioned before, I live in Yorkshire now, and as you can probably hear from my voice, I come from Manchester. And no, I haven't been to court today. We've been for a meal. That's what I just said. Yeah, Yorkshire's a weird place to live if you're not from there, because it's got a very strong sense of its own identity. They have things like Yorkshire milk and Yorkshire tea. I don't know where the plantations are, but they do have Yorkshire tea. And I think that Yorkshire should have its own prayer. So I'm going to read a prayer for it now. And this is audience participation. So you read back to me. It's a call and response. Okay? Our dad, in a Yorkshire accent, who art in Hebden, that's not a bad fella. That's county come, that's will be done, on earth as it is in Yorkshire. Give us this day our daily barm cake, and don't mind us when we bugger up. And we'll try not to mind them buggers who's bugger us up. Alright, I'll let you know. And lead us not into southern ways, but deliver us from mucky stuff. For thine is this county, with power and glory, for a great long time. Ale.
To put on a northern accent for a production of Jim Cartwright's Road when I was about 14 or 15, and predictably I froze up and died on stage, the worst time I ever had. So that was not going to happen, but thank you very much for that. We're coming up to our next break, and then we will have our last guest, but very much not least, Joe Bell. And if anyone else wants to do any open mic, come and find me. If you haven't given me a pound, come and give me a pound. If you've done one of our little writing exercises, come and give it to us, because we'll be announcing it after the break. And I thought I would do the poem that Zach kindly has put up on his advent calendar. I think it's poetryadventcalendar.blogspot.com. So here we go. This poem is called Manchester Snowfall, and it was written about 3 years ago. So here we go. The city is smudged monochrome like old newsprint. Snow falls like ash. When my breath smokes in the air, it's the carbon monoxide of cars. The wheels of my suitcase skid on ice. I'm trying to get away, south, to sugared fields of sugar beet, where books are shelved, not stacked, sliding like decks of cards as they are in my grubby flat, overlooked by gargoyles whose acid rain-scarred eyes assure me of cancelled trains, as downy grey flakes keep falling on the lines, filling the spaces between railway sleepers. Jackie Hagan's not gone home, has she? She's still here? She's just alright. Well, let's go and get her. She's won. She's won. She won the spoon. Spoon in the book. She's won the spoon. She's won the spoon. Can anyone go and get her? Because she's won the spoon. We'll hold the spoon for her, but
Shall I run through the bar so Jackie?
No, it's all right. It's okay. We'll give it to her in a bit. Okay, we'll do the booby prize first. This is not necessarily the worst. This is more of the silliest. Yeah, I thought that, and then there's some Okay, so I'll read the poem. And this is called Love Not Weeing by Jed. Never had an advent calendar, and here I am sticking to the rules. Hopefully my first advent calendar doesn't come with rules, except I'm dead against weeing in the street after drinks, or just before. I would like to find the love of my life in it. So come up and claim your prize.
Thank you.
There you go. Got that, and also here is a badge. These are special badges made by a friend of mine, Russell J. Turner, who runs an event in Norwich at the Birdcage called Head Crash Cabaret. And this is a badge that says cunt in Morse code. There we go. Right, well, we'll have to give Jackie Hagan her prizes when she comes back in, if she comes back in. There's a spoon, and there's a book, and there's a badge and everything. Yeah, and Michelle has donated a prize and everything. I'll send her a text if she's got a phone on her. I'll stop when she comes back. Yeah, okay. But, she left her phone in here. Right, well, we'll go and get her in a minute. But anyway, we have our wonderful next guest, who I'm really pleased to have upstairs. She's been doing all kinds of stuff all over the country, do all kinds of facilitating and running of things that I'm sure that you're more apt than me to explain about, and she lives on a boat, which is very interesting and exciting, and she's promised us some archaeology poems from her previous life as an archaeologist. So if you everyone give her a very warm hand and welcome Jo Bell.
Thank you, Anna. Can you hear me, Mother? Is that better? Yeah, this is a lovely evening. People are doing serious stuff and thoughtful stuff, and we're actually listening. So try to keep that up, because I'm going to do a number of poems that I never normally read. I'm conscious that there's a room full of people who've heard me read many things before, and I don't normally do archaeology poems in case people die of boredom, but tonight's your lucky night, ladies and gentlemen. Anna asked me to do some archaeology poems. That's what I did in my previous life. For 18 years I was an archaeologist, so I worked a lot with dead people, and I'm going to read you some of those. But I thought I'd start with a poem for Simon, because he did our lovely Yorkshire prayer, and I was just talking to Libby about all the places I had lived, and she said, but I was very confused. You've lived in Sheffield, you've lived in Newcastle. I said, no, I'm a northerner. Wherever I've lived, that's better. Thank you. Wherever I've lived, I've been northern. So this is Because You Called Me Love. I used to feel very oppressed when people called me love. I think it was a symbol of the oppression of patriarchy, but now I'm just grateful. Because you called me love. Which, after all, is what we northerners will say when we mean welcome. Some place it like a bookmark, absent-mindedly. Some say it like a bus driver to lighten speech. Some fix it like a lightning rod, expecting safety. None of this. You use a word which means respect, which only means be kind. A word which, after all, is what we northerners will say when we mean welcome. I like the uproarious applause and everything. I think we should save that for Jackie when she comes back in and give her a really stonking round of applause. Which I don't know why. But if you don't feel the need to clap after everyone, you won't get tired hands. So, you know, your call, really. I write about boats a little bit as well, because I live on a boat, as Anna said, and I'm expecting the first big freeze any moment. Yeah. Is it the first thing everybody says when you say you live on a boat? The first thing everybody says is it cold in the winter? And we always go, no, it fucking is, you know. So that's between us. Anyway, this has nothing to do with that kind of boat. This is about a guy I used to go out with who was a shipwright. He worked on the beautiful tall ships with the many masts. It's called The Shipwright's Love Song. Is this Jackie Hagan coming back in, by the way?
No.
Oh, damn, we've got tricks planned. Right, The Shipwright's Love Song. I was trying to imagine what his love song would be like, and the only way I could imagine it was he'd written a love poem to a boat. Oh, but the lines of her, the curve and glinting swell, the smell, as fresh as pitch pine, thick and hot as tar. Oh, I was launched and splashing in the slipway, happy to be rudderless and yawing, masthead touching to the foam. Oh, but her skin was soft, was starred with gasping salt beneath my tongue, and slowly she came round to me, rocking and slipping at my touch, making way in fits and starts to reach me and become. Later, long before she rocked me into sleep, I saw the seas, saw all of them in one blue ache, unlandmarked, vast, horizonless. Right, this is more archaeology poems. We are going to do a few archaeology poems now. This is called Last. What we learned in archaeology is that you think the object that will survive you is the precious thing, the thing that you chose to be remembered by, and of course it's not. Archaeology is mostly about the things that hold your trousers up, and civilization is all about buttons and zips and that sort of thing. So this is called Last, and I want you to hold in your mind the object that you do want to be remembered by. The object you would choose to be remembered by. The one that signifies your life. will not survive. It's going to be the busted zip, the broken plastic shoelace tip, the unsuspected screw that holds your filofax together. A truth, though small, is no less true. Likewise, of all the days, the day that I remember isn't one I chose. It wouldn't make a photo for the mantelpiece. There is no New York marathon, no beaded satin dress, no crumpled newborn face. One young morning in the flat at Portland Grove, while you made coffee, I lay matted in your quilt. The radio was on, and half asleep in student filth, I heard the lark ascending for the first time. I filled up like a fountain pen, inhaling through the nib, the barrel slowly swelling under pressure. I smelt you on the covers, squinted out at dust specks, dawdling in sunshine wedges past the angle poles. And when they come to prise my fingers from the days, it will be that one I let go of. You'll know, who is it? L.P. Hartley, the quote that said, the past is a foreign country, they do things differently there. And this is my response. Next door. The past is not a foreign country. It's next door. The neighbours make their shouts and love groups through a wall you wish was thicker. Sometimes a giggle or a gunshot, but mostly very similar to your place. They go to work at napping flints or milling corn or mummifying kings, then come home knackered to a wife who thinks the neighbours' kids appreciate their mother more. The wallpaper is different, but the layout is the same. A place to eat, a place to sleep, a place to void the bowels, never anywhere to work out what the hell you're doing. Embarrassing, because you wonder what they're listening to. You don't think they can hear you, but you wish sometimes you had the balls to shout it through the walls. Shut up! Poetry wasn't an insult. Anyway, so this is called Excavation. Anyone watch The Time Team? Yeah. Anyone see my bottom on The Time Team in 1998, sticking out of a hole on Lindy's farm? Yeah. I was wearing this dress. Right, Excavation. You think it's all gold filigree and toothbrushes. You think that on a hill in Wales or Worksop, a bearded man with whiskey in his flask can shape a bump of contour lines into a narrative. You think that we are joining dots and beeps to amplify a whisper from the dead. No. We break stones with picks and scrabble over spoil for evidence. Push mud through sieves for tooth and hobnail splints. Our nails and nerves are ragged. We hear the dead all right. They say, don't ask us anymore. Write your own damn story. History. I was thinking about history and historic characters, hysterical characters as my father would call them, and I was thinking about Elizabeth I. Somebody asked me about heroes and heroines, and I thought Elizabeth I because she was a fantastic politician, and her great achievement was that in a time when people could only see political women as potential wives, she constantly fobbed off that one question. So this is Gloriana. I like their insults little, and their flattery less. They come again, and they will come tomorrow with their one boring question. I am heavy with their pearls and slipshod promises. I speak 6 languages, and I'm the only woman they can hear in any one of them. I speak. They scrape to listen. And in 6 languages, I slowly say, no. I've printed this one out in red, which makes it a bit of a challenge to read, so we'll see if I know. See if I can remember this one. It's called Infallible. It's about the Renaissance painter Giotto, whom you know so well. And it's true stories, actually. All the quotes, most of the quotes in here are real. Infallible. Outside the workshop, toddlers tumbled by. They said you could make beauty, said the courtier. Your children are so plain. Giotto laughed, a blacksmith's laugh. I made them in the dark, he said. The envoy blushed, unsealed his errand. His Holiness commands a sample of your work. Indeed, said Giotto, we will talk as soon as Pietro's roof is done. The messenger leaned in and scowled. The Holy Father's business is to speak for God. Giotto snatched the scroll, returned it with a circle, compass perfect, in a single sweep of red. God speaks for himself, he said. If you've ever heard me read before, you're probably thinking, where are the swear words? Where is the rudeness? There's a little bit of rudeness coming up. This is South Shields Roman Fort. The first site I ever worked on was Arbea, which is the Roman fort at South Shields, which is a grubby, disgusting little place, and was a grubby, disgusting little place. Anyone from South Shields in the audience? Shit. Was a grubby, disgusting little place in Roman times as well. So this is South Shields. We're turning Earth to find the Holy Grail, which Richard says is buried in South Shields. He's back from cycling the world, an emperor in the sight hut, and we owe him this. Richard, who carves startling fuck spoons, a variation on the Welsh love spoon, is notorious for seeing grails in graveyards, forts, and once, admittedly whilst pissed, the chip shop in Harbottle. Gaines, our own world-famed numismatist, despairs of this, as of much else since Mrs. Gaines was murdered. Fingering the thumbnail coins, denarii, decimani, looking at the obverse. Grief leaves him with a perfect mind for coins, for catalogues, unchallenged certainties. Everything is post or pre, defined by one event, fixed as a rocking horse. The Roman sewers flush with rain, and from the cess give up a flattened ring with lovers' names. It's not the Grail, but something glimmers in the mud for Richard with his bulbous spoons, and Gaines with his unfastened heart. True story. Sorry. Oh, I'll have some alcohol. Right, a wonderful poet called Norman MacCabe, the best poet, my Desert Island poet, Norman MacCabe. And it's very foolish to start a poem with an epigraph, because then you have to live up to it, and they've probably already said exactly what you're about to say in the next 20 lines, much better. Norman MacCabe said, does anyone know the mountain Schiehallion in Scotland? It's a very pointy mountain, it looks like a child's version of a mountain called Schiehallion. And he said, there's a Schiehallion anywhere you go, the thing is, climb it. So this is my Schiehallion, and it's about the Peak District. At the top of Margery Hill is a lean, eroding barrow made of peat. Under the lumpen barrow is a man who knew this hill by an older name and had another name than ours for the valley 2 miles away, where, on a Bronze Age day, the peat was dug. And had a name which we will never know for the need to carry peat uphill 2 miles for a dead man. His tracks and woods and ways are gone, and even his technologies look simple from a distance. The names and armies pass like rain on Minninglow and Shucklingslow, on Bosley Cloud and Thorpe Cloud, Shining Tor, Crome Hill and Lantern Pike, on Win Hill and Lose Hill. Their names and mine will pass like rain, but peat or no peat, I am buried in them, they in me. We'll have a slightly more lightweight one now, and then we'll get on to the shagging, shall we? Yes. 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 We knew there must be some sex somewhere. Right, history. So a wise man said history is one damn thing after another, and a wiser man said history is the same damn thing over and over again. And it struck me that our personal histories are very much like that as well. You never learn. Do we learn? Has anyone learned?
Yeah.
Has anyone someone's learned? Give that man a handkerchief or something. What? Somebody's learned. Fantastic. He knows what it's all about. Go and ask him. Girl with fig leaf meets boy with tree of knowledge. Abelard meets Heloise in medieval college. Hunterer meets gatherer in mid-forest forage. Nothing ever new but the same damn thing. Guinevere seeks Lancelot for a romantic hero role. Marquis de Sade seeks anyone with any kind of hole. Apart from Scott, who seeks only the South Pole. Nothing ever new but the same damn thing. Man in mask seeks woman who is good at picking locks. Casanova, anyone who hasn't got the pox. Most of us seek anyone who'll pick up their own socks. Nothing ever new but the same damn thing. Virgin Queen seeks unambitious lover. Oedipus meets woman who reminds him of his mother. Samuel Pepys seeks chambermaid for a bit of the other. Nothing ever new but the same damn thing. Boy with sword meets lady with lake. At the end of time's loop, there's no new take on girl with apple meets boy with snake. Nothing ever new but the same damn thing. Not one damn thing after another, but the same damn thing over again. Men seeking damnable women who are seeking the same damn men, and again, with open eyes we say, again, and bring it on. Again.